Hi, I'm Joe from Empire Music and EmpireMusicOnline.com today, and this is Mike Venezia from Taylor Guitars. Came out, he's our sales rep, he's in from San Diego, and we're here today to talk about the new V-Class bracing, and here we are. So Mike's gonna give you all the details, some cool specs and things to look for, and we're gonna talk about these three guitars that are in front of us.
Great, yeah, thanks, Joe. It's always great to come here to Empire Music and Empire Music Online. Make sure you check these guys out on the regular. Joe's one of our best dealers. We're proud to have him on board as one of our dealers and one of our online preferred dealers, which means that he's got a lot of stuff here for you guys to try out. So make sure you come on back. So that's my little pitch right there. But as far as these guitars, actually Joe is one of the first to have these guitars in store. These are our new V-Class brace guitars that we've debuted here in 2018 for Taylor Guitars. And the three models you're looking at right now are the K24CE, the 914CE, and what I'm holding in my hand is the K14CE Builder's Edition. I'll explain all those in a minute, but a little bit about V-bracing. So Andy Powers and Taylor Guitars are always known for being innovative and always trying to make a guitar better. And this is the latest innovation from Taylor Guitars. But for 150 years or so, guitar makers have been making, or acoustic guitar makers, have been making guitars with an X brace. It means it has an X pattern that's happening underneath the top of the instrument. And it's worked for a very long time, but at the same time, inherently the reality is X bracing gives you a compromise between volume and sustain, meaning that you can't add more of one without reducing the other. So just to give a quick example, when you think about volume, when I think about volume, I think of a banjo. A banjo's really loud, right? But it basically has a drum head as the top of the guitar, so it's super flexible. Volume is defined by flexibility, but it doesn't have a whole lot of sustain. However, when I think of sustain, I think of like a solid body, maybe like a Les Paul style instrument. You play a note like they made fun of in Spinal Tap, you hit a note and you come back an hour later and it's still playing, right? But there's no volume until you actually plug it in and turn up the volume on the amplifier. So what Andy Power set out to do is sort of remove that compromise, because if you ever wanted to add more volume to an acoustic instrument, you're going to lose sustain because you're going to add flexibility while removing the stiffness, and vice versa. So essentially, what we did is we removed that compromise by doing a V bracing. Now that V starts here and kind of pins down here, so it is in the shape of a V. And what that provides for is stiffness down the center line of the instrument. That's where all that sustain is going to come from that stiffness down here. But then the top on the sides are minimally braced. So that's going to allow for like a rocking motion on that stiff center line. That's going to give you the flexibility and the volume. Now, does that mean this is the loudest guitar ever made? No, that's not what it's about. But it means that every note all across the fingerboard has its own power and rings out longer. So a great way that I try to demonstrate that is by picking up the weak notes on a guitar. And we all know that there's weak notes on guitars, none more so than the E on the G string at about the 9th fret. This is a notoriously weak note. However, if we just play it even with just a light touch, it's still going. I'm talking over it, but it's still going. On a V-brace guitar, that lasts a long time. And that's not something that you find on an X-brace guitar. The other part of it is that it kind of has an initial bloom, then it drops down a little, and then it swells again. So it's almost like it's cycling through its sound over again, giving you that extra sustain. This is true for all notes up and down the fingerboard, whether they be down here in what we call the cash register, because that's where you make all your money, right? Or all the way up here in the higher octave. So that's, again, true across the entire length of the instrument. Now, you get that volume, you get that sustain, but one of the other things that we came across was that the intonation or the inherent in-tuneness of the instrument is actually more exact with V-Class bracing. And the reason being is because the notes, because of that rocking motion that we have going on the top, puts the notes out in a more orderly fashion. So essentially it's like applause. Like when you go to a concert, there's 20,000 people playing, what happens at the end of a song?
Everyone claps.
Everyone claps, and everybody's clapping all at once, but not necessarily together, right? So it kind of creates like a white noise situation. That's sort of what's happening with an X-brace top. But at the beginning of the next song, the drummer starts hitting the kick drum rhythmically and then gets everybody clapping in time. Now you have the whole audience clapping in unison. It's more rhythmic and more musical. That's what a V-brace top is doing. It's taking all those notes but putting them out in a more orderly fashion. So because of that, what you're getting is you're not hearing all the harmonic overtones that you would hear with an X-Brace top all at once. I mean, separated, you're hearing it all at once, so it's making for a more uniform, true note. So if I was to play something crazy, like crazy chords all the way up here, like this G chord, each note has power, each note has sustain, but what you don't have is that oscillation, that warbling that you would normally get up in this part of the guitar. Another quick way to look at it, what's a chord that we all like to play? The D chord, right? But then we also like to play the octave E chord above the 12th fret. What usually happens when you get up here?
It gets crazy. It gives you almost like a wah-wah as it
Yeah,
decays.
it's like a wah-wah-wah-wah-wah-wah on like one or two notes. It sounds like they're fighting each other, but not on a V-class brace guitar because of the way the note's being output in a more orderly fashion. So if I play this chord down here, and I'm going to hit the open D as well. Now I'm going to play that same chord up here, still hitting the open D, but playing it an octave up. It's still perfectly in tune, even though I'm an octave up, which is where all the issues really start happening. And how many times have we done recording, we tune the guitar to a G, and then we play the D chord, and the D chord sounds weird? That's sort of eliminated with the V-class bracing.
And definitely, like, I came out to the factory in October, I met with Andy, and then we saw the guitars again at NAMM. And oftentimes when manufacturers come out with a new feature, it's something you have to really look to find. They'll tell you, hey, this is what you're gonna find. You're gonna find more bass, or you're gonna get more sustain, and it's a subjective experience. With this, what's really unique is watching people touch it for the first time. The first time you see somebody pluck this note and get crazy sustain and this really even, long decay, which is amazing, it's undeniable. You don't have to be a seasoned guitar player to notice it, and it's a feature that Taylor was designing for and got, and it's very, very apparent. And obviously, as you play up the neck here, it's even more apparent. So yeah, we get it up here, and of course, no one's just strumming these chords and holding on to them forever. But you can really notice there. But down here, where you're playing 90% of the time, it's so favorable because we know all of us have faked these chords. You don't play a real G, you kind of fake it. You give like a G5 or a D5 because we're just trying to get through it, because when we're playing live or we're recording, it's something's just a little funky. We don't know why it's off. Well, here we don't have that. And it's like really, really one of the coolest innovations I've ever seen in a guitar. There's lots of things that manufacturers do to make guitars better, but they're, I think, like I said, subjectively better. This is something that every guitar player is gonna want. When you play it, everybody wants their guitar to sound more in tune. Who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want more sustain? Everybody wants that. And they did it in a way that is really amazing because the guitars feel great. It's not like they had to feel heavier or they don't play different. They kept Taylor's great tone, they get all the great feel, but they just gave us better.
Just to build on your example about playing down here in the cash register again, the G chord specifically is a great way to kind of look at that. We all try to fake things, like you say. Mel Bay Book 1 teaches you that you need to put a finger here on the 3rd fret on the E string and a finger here at the 2nd fret on the A string, and then you can put your pinky up here on the high E string at the 3rd fret, and that's your true G. But again, that normally sounds weird. So what do? We sort of mute the A string, and then we add the D on the 2nd string, and we do this. And that's like a 5th chord, right? Just like you were saying. Well, because of the V-class bracing, how it outputs those notes in order, we could play the Mel Bay G chord again. We could play that true G chord and add those 2 B notes back into play without it sounding warbly or going off pitch or sounding sour. So yeah, I mean, that's it. And it's kind of funny because who would think that bracing would help intonation? But really, it just kind of proves that the compensation, which is what people normally associate intonation with, the compensation of the guitar was always dead on. It was always just trying to get those notes to line up in order. And this will work with any tuning, whether it be alternate tuning, drop D tuning, if you capo, whatever. All those benefits are still prevalent in a V-class bass guitar.
Yeah, these are really great, and Mike hit on it there for all of our singer-songwriters that need to use a capo. I mean, you have to tune your guitar 20 times to get it right, and then it's the next song, you have to retune the whole guitar. We're not going to be in that situation again. Fingerstyle players are going to love it because there's not going to be things that we have to avoid now. We can actually go ahead and play octaves, and they're going to be in tune. It's going to sound awesome, which is really, really cool. So no matter what style of player you are, you're going to notice and really reap the benefits of the new features, and they've delivered them in these first 3 models, which is really cool. And like I said, it's awesome. Like, we're one of the first stores in the country to have them, which is great. And you know, like, we'll start with the Builder's Edition. Mike can tell you about this because this is a brand new model. This is the first model that Taylor didn't have in the lineup that they brought out with the V-Brace. So give us a head up on the Builder's Edition.
Sure, yeah. So this is the K14 CE Builder's Edition, as I mentioned earlier. And yeah, this is new to the Taylor line. Now, Andy Powers, he's our master guitar designer at Taylor, and he's a player. Almost first and foremost. I mean, he's a fantastic builder, but he's almost a better player. And as a player, he likes to think the way a player would when it comes to designing a guitar. And one of the main things about playing is we like comfort, right? We don't want to play something that's unwieldy or annoying to play. Not that Taylor guitars are annoying to play. They're actually the most comfortable guitars out there, generally speaking. But what he wanted to do was create a builder's edition. So this is basically what we call the director's cut, jokingly. This is the director's cut that come out of Andy Powers' mind. And what he did was he took, it's a V-Brace guitar, and he put in all the sonic treatments that we do for all Taylor guitars. But this particular guitar, all the builder's editions, this is the first in a series that we're going to be doing, have certain attributes you're not necessarily going to find on other Taylor guitars. Some that you will find are this beveled armrest. You're going to find this on other series like our 900 series or our presentation series, and different permutations on our Academy series and our 800 Deluxes. This guitar also has all the binding on the top and back is all rolled off. It's all chamfered, so it's all very smooth no matter where it's sitting on your body. Then this guitar does have a cutaway, but then there's a bevel in the cutaway, and then also a contoured heel. So what that allows for is if you're, say, a soloist or maybe a shredder or what have you, you have full access all the way up the fingerboard. You could actually play it like into the sound hole, really. But even with keeping your thumb on the back of the neck, you could play all the way up to the 20th fret on this guitar with ease and comfort. You don't have to reach or stretch or do anything crazy anymore. And then this also has a silent satin finish. Now, we do satin finishes at Taylor, but this is a new finish that Andy created for this purpose. When we call it silent because when this rubs up against your shirt or when your arm rubs up on the top, you're not going to get those extraneous noises that you would normally get. Now, satin finishes tend to have a little bit of a texture to it that creates kind of a shushing sound. With the silent satin finish, it's much smoother. You don't actually have that. So if you're a player who's recording or recording with a microphone or playing through a microphone, you don't get those extraneous noises, even when you're plugged in as well. So there's a lot of different attributes that you'll find on this guitar. We also put Goto tuners on the Builder's Edition guitars too. And this one happens to be Koa sides and back with a Kona burst finish. So it's a new sunburst finish that we have at Taylor Guitars. And this one also features a torrefied spruce top to give more of an aged sort of sound right out of the box. So that's new, and you're going to see different Builder's Editions as time goes on from Taylor Guitars working up and down the line. But they're all going to share those same attributes. Then as far as the other guitars that are here, they both are staples of our line. The 914 CE has had no differences to it, no appointment changes, but it is now a V-Brace guitar. So if you're looking for something with a rosewood tone, you have that in the 900 series and the 914 CE. And then the K24 CE is Koa top, sides, and back. So all parts of this guitar are Koa, V-braced, but at the same time, we also changed the appointment suite on this guitar. So now it's bound in maple. It has a spring vine inlay on the fingerboard and on the headstock, and it just adds beautification to the instrument. As always, it comes with the shaded edge burst finish to really bring out the grain that's in Koa, and it shares the same great Koa tone that comes in all of our Koa guitars in our Koa series.
For sure. So that's basically a really great rundown on the initial V-class bracing. And how you can know that you're getting a V-class guitar is if you're gonna look right here, the nut of the guitar is now black. Taylor's in the history has always had like a white or a cream. Now all the V-braced guitars will have a nice black nut on there for you. So you'll be able to find them online if you're looking, or if you come into our store and have questions, that's kind of like the staple so you can find them on the wall. But most importantly, if you're looking for one of these and you want to get a great experience, We do full setups on all of our guitars. We really pack them properly, send out just a professional guitar when you get it. And we're glad to get you on the list here to see these guitars, or if you're interested in pre-ordering them, we can take care of you on that. We can be reached on our website at empiremusiconline.com or directly at 412-343-5299. Again, I'm Joe from Empire, and this is Mike Venezia from Taylor Guitars. Thanks for watching.